Thank you. And to start with, no, I'm not going to show you how to write code to replace leaders or leadership today. I think maybe AI will solve that for us at some point, but we'll see. We'll have to wait and see how it develops. Now, I'm here to talk a bit about my view on leadership teams and how to build leadership teams, and the fact that leadership teams aren't very different from development teams or just any team, to be quite honest. Sometimes there's a belief that leaders are special in some way, and they aren't. It's just people doing a great job at things that they are good at. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Simply building great teams. Short background of me, I've never spoken here, but I've been in the development business since 20 years back, or something like that, in various roles, developer, leader, done a bit of everything. I've been in a lot of complex organizations, fast-moving organizations, where things happen quickly, and organizations change overnight. We hire people, people disappear, things happen. And besides being a developer, a coder, a leader, I'm also a dad, a musician, and just a great guy, I guess. So, to understand leadership teams, I wanted to talk a bit about the engineering manager role and what that means. It's a quite complex role because to get the full impact, an engineering manager has to do a lot of different things these days, in my opinion. To start with, obviously, one of the main focuses is the individuals and the teams. Are people growing? Are they learning things? Do they feel safe? Do they have support at work? Do they have what they need to be able to do a great job? We hire great people. We need to make sure that they can do a great job. And how does the team work? Is the team safe? Can people grow together, learn together, deliver as a group? So individuals and teams is the first focus of an EM. The second one, in my opinion, is how the team is working together, how the team is delivering. Because I'm very much against leaders and managers that are only like administrative managers. They need to have a stake in their teams. They need to care about the output and the delivery. They need to be close to what's happening. And I think it's good if everyone has something like that. And for me, the EM needs to be close to how the team is working, because that interacts with how you can help people grow. And finally, the world is difficult these days. A lot happens. The world changes. Things happen. And because of that, every organization, every team needs to be ready for this. So I think a good engineering manager needs to be a change enabler, needs to be there to both listen to people, how they react, but also tell stories and perhaps explain why certain things happen in the way they do. The world is complex. You could look at an old city map. This is Vienna, I believe. Streets everywhere. There are canals. There are nice things to see. But everyone is not in the same place all the time. And that's how you should view leadership teams. You shouldn't assume that all leaders have the same picture, that they have all the tools in the toolbox, and that they know everything. Because just like a development team, everyone hasn't done everything yet. So if we assume that everyone is in different places, and if we assume that we can talk about what we would like to achieve, where we would like to go, then it's possible to start to talk about how to get there. Which route can you take? Should you meet up? And how can we as a team try to work towards that goal that we are looking at? And perhaps more importantly, where shouldn't we go? If we want to get to the goal on the map, well, maybe we shouldn't start to walk in the wrong direction. Sometimes we should, but it depends. But we can talk about it. If we accept that everyone is in different places and that we think that we know where we are heading. There's been a bunch of references to elephants today. I'm very happy about that. Elephants are cute. This is the cutest elephant picture I could find when sourcing images for this presentation. And I'm sure everyone has heard discussions about not slicing elephants, instead growing small elephants. It's a classical one here that I'm sure has been mentioned before. And it's actually the same for leadership teams. We shouldn't assume that we can set direction and make big changes. We should assume that we don't have all the answers yet and that we haven't seen everything that we need to see to be able to take good decisions. This kind of taps into how we work. We don't expect development teams to build that big elephant and slice it. We expect them to do it incrementally. We expect them to learn. We expect them to explore and try things out. And we expect them to work as a team towards that. And the same applies for leadership teams. Why should we slice elephants? Why should we build big elephants? Because we don't know if that elephant will still be relevant tomorrow. So instead, we should look at building small elephants, just like we want our development teams to do. This is my team. You might have seen some of them here today. Those are the ones with really red faces, kind of ducking in the audience right now, I think. I had the pleasure of building this awesome team. Partially, a few of them were there when I started at Viaplay a bit more than a year ago, and some of them I've hired. But when doing so, I've focused a lot on the team. I've tried to avoid having a shape for what a leader or an EM looks like. I've tried to look at the collective ability of the team. I want people that are really awesome at processes, that know every agile process out there. I want people who can build enthusiasm and get people interested in what we're doing. I want great coaches, and I want a mix of this. Because I think when you build a team, you can look at how you work as a team. You can start to learn together. You can start to share experiences with each other. Because I don't have all the answers. I head up an EM team. I've done a lot, but I don't have all the answers. But I think that if I combine what I've done, what I've seen, what I know, with the stuff that the people in my team have seen, have done, know, I think we together have a pretty good toolbox to use to create enablement for awesome people in the organization to really shine and do their best. So there are a lot of benefits of building a team. And maybe this sounds familiar because that's how we talk about development teams, right? We don't believe in ninja developers like we talked about a while back. We believe in building great teams, diverse teams, teams with people who know different things, who complement each other. And when you do that, you get a lot of benefits. And the exact same thing applies to leadership teams. So build great teams. Don't just hire people according to a template and try to get them to fit in. If I try to move towards summarizing this, I tend to look at this from two perspectives. And I realize using the word mindset was perhaps a bit foolish given the previous speaker. I'm sorry for that. But basically, when building great leadership teams, you could simplify it and talk about it from two angles. One is way of working. So if we want to deliver in small steps, in increments, if we want to learn from what we are doing, if we want to share with each other and learn from each other, then choosing a process, a methodology that supports that helps us. Development teams, perhaps you pick Scrum, perhaps you pick Kanban, perhaps you do something of your own. But you typically try to find a way of working that is consistent and predictable because it allows you to be consistent and predictable in how you deliver to the organization. And the same applies to leadership teams. And mindset and values. Well, I think that it's connected to engagement, creating a safe place where innovation can happen. And I think that those of us who are leaders, we have a great impact on the organization. And if we can work according to the same mindset and values, then it helps. Diversity, for instance. Embrace the fact that you have different strengths within the different team members. Build upon that. Use it as a strength. And be very intentful of that when building the team, when recruiting. So to sum it up, I have 15 seconds to go. Building great leadership teams isn't very different from just building great teams. So Think about that. See how you can use it. Thank you.